And just too cute. Denise Plummer there. Nothing can stop my praise. I think the only thing I love about Denise is actually when I saw her at Open House this year and we spoke with her backstage, it just goes to show that, you know, there are some believers who allow cultural differences to keep them apart and separate them from truly evangelizing. And, you know, it has happened over the years. And some of these same cultural differences are what would have led to the formation of cults and different heresies in the church, because we just do not know how to adapt. We don't allow the Holy Spirit to really take us to everywhere and anywhere and spread the gospel. And the one thing about Denise, and when I looked at how the young people responded to her during Open House, you know, this is a lady who has been singing since I and many others were children, babies, young, you know, toddlers as the case may be. And she's been able to transcend generation after generation, whether when she was singing, quote-unquote, calypso in the secular world to now, and she is still able to do that. And it really just shows the magnitude of the woman that she is. So, you know, all the best to Denise, of course, in her ministry and what she's doing for the Lord right now in this season. So welcome once again to Cloud.Nine on ACT. And I'm sure that song would have woken you up. Because there's a lot's happening in the news today, and what's been making, you know, we have to now gravitate to what's been making social media. Yeah, we can't say what's making news anymore. It's what's making social media, because that seems to be the platform for news today, which is very disappointing and disturbing. But the people that were suspended from the, I think it's the Princestown East Secondary School, right? That's Princestown Secondary School, right? And because of statements that he made in relation to the air condition that is not working at the school. Now, just a few days before that report, we had gone down to the San Fernando Central, where there was an issue concerning electrical problems and short, you know, sparks and so forth. That has been rectified, as a matter of fact. So, but there are too many issues happening in schools right now that we've been turning a blind eye to, right? And this issue with the suspension, you're going to see later on. I'm not going into too much details right now. But the topic surrounding this is analyze and not annihilate. Because we're not here to necessarily criticize the principal or whoever. But this suspension has raised a lot of questions into how do we address issues facing our schools. Was this young man used as a scapegoat, you know, to more or less cast a shadow of sort or a diversion from other major issues that are not just being dealt with in our nation's schools, and as one nation, Trinidad and Tobago, north, south, east, west? What are we not addressing? What are we not seeing? What are we not dealing with or analyzing properly? And these are things that, you know, we are hoping to discuss or get some sort of feedback from the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Mr. Lindsay Dulai, later on in the program. But first, in our Wise Up segment, we want to touch on Hurricane Irma, but more so where you can go to drop off items in terms of relief efforts for many of our affected brothers and sisters in the Caribbean Islands. Let's go to our Wise Up segment now. All right, so welcome back. So I want to take you now to a very short clip, which will give you a sort of bird's eye view of some of the destruction that took place in several of the Caribbean islands. It is not that we're not addressing the other areas around the world in terms of Miami, Florida, these areas that have been affected, but I want us to just pay some attention as well to our neighboring Caribbean islands in relation to helping those who've been affected. You would have seen on today's newspaper where a grandmother, a grandmother and her 3-year-old grandson from Trinidad and Tobago who resided in St. Martin, they died after they drowned in flood waters last week, Wednesday. So, we want to just zero in our attention right now on those in the Caribbean that have been affected. Let's go to the video clip now, and then I will bring for you those hurricane centers or these relief centers that you can drop off items to support. All right, so that just gives you an idea of some of the destruction that took place. Of course, I'm sure you would have seen a lot more, heard a lot more, and it has been a very disturbing last couple of, weeks rather, for what people have been experiencing in our neighboring Caribbean islands and, of course, in other countries as well, and we continue to keep everyone in prayer. Let's go now to this image on the screen, and I'm going to take my time and go through it. This is ITNAC. Is there not a cause? Is there not a cause? Now, let me say this quickly. Be very, very careful where you carry items for the relief efforts for those affected by Hurricane Irma. I'm saying that because there are many centers or people who claim that they are, legal centers, or as the case may be, and they're not. All right? Because we know what's in for Trinidadians? Yeah, we have many Trinidadians who will try all kind of things to get your stuff, and it will not reach to those affected. So the ODPM, they have relief supplies. They're asking to be taken TT Post, and ITNAC, they are one of the what you call legal bodies or recognized bodies that you can carry items to. So let's go to it one more time. So this is Hurricane Irma relief efforts. So in the northwest in Trinidad, you have ITNAC's head office, right? That's 93 Charlotte Street, Port of Spain. Now this is Northwest Centers. The numbers are 394-2042 or 485-0377. S.A. Mason, that's 6A Anders Street, St. James. Relax Dental, 57 Anna Street, St. James. Eco Truffles Eco Spa, that's Linda's Plaza, 25 Saddle Road in Maraval. Contact 487-3266 or 487-3262. I'll say it again. 487-3266 or 472-3262. That's upstairs Linda's Bakery. All right, for those in Northwest, you have Itanax Office, S.A. Mason, Relax Dental, and Eco Truffles, Eco Spa. Now, in Northeast, there's just one location, and that's Faith Assembly International. Most believers will know that as Pastor K.K. Bechu's church on that intersection there by Aruka onto the bus route. And that's 5 Rivers Junction, Aruka. That's now they have specific times. Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And in South Trinidad, the Kairos Evangelistic Association office. That's the Kairos Evangelistic Association office. That's 16 to 19 Addis Drive, Duncan Village, San Fernando. That's 16 to 19 Addis Drive, Duncan Village, San Fernando. The number is 484-2729, 484-2729. And in the Sister Isle of Tobago, the residents of Haynes, Cowie Clark, Mount St. George. And his number, 731-1941. That's 731-1941 or 660-2109. You can call for directions. And if you go through today's Express and other newspapers, the ODPM, they have their relief effort centers. You can take a look. It's across the country as well. I'm not going to go through all of it now, maybe later on. But if you have not received or have a newspaper in front of you, you can go to ODPM's website and you can get that information as well. You can drop off, or what TT Post offices or centers you can drop off items. Again, non-perishable items, clothing, etc. You can carry. Let's help those in need and keep those who are affected in our prayers. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we jump into the education system. What's really happening? Let's analyze.
The devil's the accuser of the brethren. And he hates marriage because marriage is the image of God. He hates marriage because it's the most sacred institution on earth. God created marriage in Genesis chapter 1. It is the first institution he ever created, and it's the foundation for every other institution on earth. And he's a strategist. He understands if he can destroy marriage, he can destroy all of society.
I found out that if our phones are close enough, and if we have a connection on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, come on, I'm about to preach this technology until somebody comes out of hiding. If I got something on my device and you need it on your device, if I can get close enough to your device with my device, what's on my device can jump on your device. If I get close to the one who created me, close to the one who called me, if I stop running and return to the place of my assignment, I got the drop.
So if you want to live behind walls all your life and live an isolated, lonely, miserable life, go ahead. But I suggest that you tear down all your walls and let God be a wall of protection about you. And he says all of your walls will be called peace.
All right, welcome back to Cloud.Nine on ACTN. People were suspended for speaking out on Facebook on an issue facing their school. Did the school go too far? Was he right? Is there a deeper issue? Let's analyze. And while we contact Mr. Dulai, so that's the question. Did he go too far? Did the school go too far? Are we too far gone in terms of addressing these issues? That's why this is happening the way it is. And let me just read the story for you so you can put things into context and the response by the Minister of Education. And then we speak to Mr. Dulai once we get him on the line, and he will give us an update on what's the latest with this situation. Right? Now, again, the young man in question, he raised issues at the Princestown East Secondary School, and he's been suspended for 5 days, right? He was posting negative comments on social media, and he's a Form 4 pupil. Now, Ms. Khadija Amin responded and said, these are her questions, right? That the school is being dismissed at 1:30 since the beginning of the term, and there's barely enough time to hand in homework and receive new assignments. How long will this go on for? Question though, did this post bring the school into disrepute? Did the student chastise the principal or teachers? What is the offense here? This cannot be right. I am seeking guidance on this, right? The Minister of Education, he says the investigation has been launched, but he too also said that there's freedom of speech and he didn't break any law. Let's welcome at this time on the line the president of Tutor, Mr. Lindsay Dulai. A pleasant good afternoon to you, sir, and how are you? Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Dulai. Are you hearing me clearly? Hello? Hello? All right, let's try again. I know he's there. Let's try one more time. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Dulai. Are you there? Hello? Hello, good afternoon, sir. Hello? All right, let me just keep reading while we try and sort that out. All right? All right, so basically this is what the Minister of Education had to say. He said the law gives the right of suspension to the principal and no one else. Only the principal has the authority to suspend a child. I don't know what are the factors that led to the suspension of the student. We will have to investigate that, said the minister. Are we good now? All right, let's try it again. All right. All right, a pleasant good afternoon, Mr. Lindsay Dulai. Are you hearing me clearly? Hello? Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Don't know what's happening. All right, we're going to keep on. He said the pupils, like all citizens, have freedom of speech, but he said this freedom must be used responsibly. Every individual in this country enjoys the right of speech. We have the right to communicate our views, but of course, as I've always said, no right is unfettered. Right, so those are some of the comments from the Minister of Education as the investigation has been officially launched. But one of the things that what people have been mentioning, and it's a valid fact, there are other issues that are being faced in our schools whereby you don't see this type of suspension taking place. So what is really the factor here? All right, let's go. Let's try one more time. We're good. The third time's always a charm. We're gonna try again. All right, let's try again. Pleasant good afternoon, Mr. Dulai. Are you hearing me now?
Hi, good afternoon.
Right, good afternoon to you, sir. Sorry about the little interruption there about a minute ago. All right, so thank you for joining us, first of all. And as I said, this interview is not to annihilate anyone, but to analyze the situation that's happening in our nation's schools. Now, the young man in question, he has been suspended, but there are those who are saying there's a deeper-rooted issue. Now, when I spoke to Mr. Jagrup concerning the San Fernando Central Secondary School, he expressed that, many of these schools that have not been dealt with, the issues are not new. So it seems to be an epidemic with schools until when it comes to September and school opening. This always seems to be the problem, no matter who the administration is. What are we dealing here that seems to be always pushed under the carpet, Mr. Dulai?
Well, it's a simple fact that if you have 2 months vacation, July and August, and you need ample time to get the schools ready for the reopening of schools in September, that you start the repair work early in the month of July, so you have sufficient time to finish the repairs. However, and this is not to any particular Minister of Education or any particular government, this is a perennial problem over the years that construction or repairs begin quite late, sometimes late into the month of August. This year we even had some situations where repair works that were scheduled did not even start by the time school reopened. And hence we are in a situation today where on a daily basis, some school is being closed for electrical issues, for sewer issues, for infrastructural issues, for issues related to water at the school. And we cannot continue to go along like this because vital contact time is being lost on a daily basis in our nation's schools because of this. And the Ministry of Education must put more stringent plans in place to ensure that our schools are in a tip-top condition, that they are suitable for occupation by teachers and students on any given school day.
I think what this young man has done, and this is where we need to, again, analyze situation. What he has done, he has opened up now a door for discussion that has been locked and the key has been thrown away by some, because now you have him being suspended for 5 days, and some are asking the question, okay, we have children fighting that's publicized on social media, and they are sent back to school within 2-3 days in some cases. And now you have this young man who, even the minister said he broke no law, even though he could have been reprimanded. It went a bit too far in the opinion of many. Because they said this is not a new problem that we are experiencing. Right? Now, in terms of the Princestown East Secondary School, what is the latest on that school in terms of the situation? Not so much, well, the young man one, if you can respond to that, and number two, where the repairs are concerned.
Well, with respect to the young man, I do not have all the facts, but I understand that the Ministry of Education has launched an investigation into the incident, and I await anxiously to see what comes out of that investigation. However, the whole issue brings us to a broader issue. The Ministry of Education must look seriously to having put in effect some sort of policy on use of social media by students, because the suspension revolved around the use of social media to highlight issues at the school. So the Ministry of Education, I believe, should truly look at, put into effect some policy with respect to the use of social media by students and what will be accepted and what will not be accepted. If we have that policy in place, and we have certain behaviors that are not accepted, if students transgress those policies, then there will be no outcry in terms of any penalties attached to such action.
Right, and I'm glad you said that, because now, and that's what I'm saying, the issue is here so much not reprimanding the young man, but because there are no clear guidelines where this is concerned, a situation where people are going to say, okay, he's been suspended, which many have felt that was harsh, based on, of course, other things that have been happening with students over the years in schools. And students are back in the school as normal. It's been in the news, there's nothing new. Major fights, and they're back in school. So it seems to be a disparity. And that's why people are saying, okay, is there again a bigger issue? Is it because the door has been opened and the floodgates have been opened, and these issues are now flooding the attention of the ministry? They're sensing as if they're drowning, and they do not know how to respond. Now, I want to just know again, the repairs, have the repairs begun, Mr. Dudai? Have you any information if it has started?
I visited the school this morning, because the whole reason for the young man's post on social media was because of non-functioning ACs at the school, the air conditioning system. And if the air conditioning system was functioning, maybe we wouldn't have had that post on social media, and more than likely the young man would not have been suspended from school. The only silver lining in that clause with respect to the suspension is that the young man would have missed no school, because for the entire term, since school reopened on the 4th of September, there has been no teaching and learning taking place at the Princestown East Secondary School, because the Ministry of Education has failed once again to address the air conditioning issues at the school. The issues at the school predates this minister, it predates this government, it goes back to a number of years, and nothing has really been done to effectively solve the problem. For instances, when the air conditioning system breaks down, we understand or we hear that the government is owing money to the contractor who has recontracted to look after the air conditioning system, and because that he's owed money, he is refusing to do any further work. That's one excuse we hear. On another front, we hear sometimes that parts have to be replaced in the air conditioning system, and the parts have to be imported from abroad. And that is cited also as a reason for delays in the air conditioning system.
So what's the window, or what's the time frame we're looking at in terms of the repair starting and even completing? Any information on that at all, or that's still up in the air?
Absolutely no information. Nothing has been done at the school. And on any given day since last week, just come to school, they report for duties. There is not any function air conditioning system on the school. And I want to point out to your viewers and your listeners that the school was designed in such a way that it can only operate if there is air conditioning.
I'm going to ask that if it's a centralized AC unit.
System.
Oh, okay, all right.
And the school was designed in such a way that there's no airflow into the classroom.
Ventilation, not that much.
In the classrooms. I know some members of Joint Public would say a long time when they went to school they had no AC.
Yeah, I was actually wondering, because then I said, listen, the logistics of the school, I don't know it, so let's find out, let's get some details, yeah.
Right, but because of the design of the school, and because there are no windows in the classroom that allow airflow, it is designed to work with a proper function air conditioning system. During the last couple of days, a number of teachers, over 10 of them, have started to report a number of medical ailments from occupying the school. Ailments such as headaches,
there's no airflow.
Sinus, skin irritations. In fact, they have brought medical certificates to the Trinidad Unified Teachers Association, where they would have had to sought medical attention. And the medical certificates are from government institutions also, like the North Central Regional Health Authority and the Southwest Regional Health Authority. So even the government institutions who would have seen these teachers have certified that they are suffering with these ailments. So there's a bigger picture now of teachers, and of course if the students have to occupy the building, they may be exposed to some sort of skin irritation or some sort of medical condition. So that also is a serious concern at this point in time.
So now we have now a compounded problem, not only of loss of school time and of course the education being affected, but now many people are falling ill.
Yeah.
That's the domino effect.
As I pointed out, this situation has been going on for years, but the last time the system broke down was 2 weeks before the school closed the July-August vacation. So 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before the end of the last term, the system went down. And from my analysis of the situation, it broke down 2 weeks before the end of the last school term, and then we have the school reopened now for a new term and still not open, meant that nothing really was done to rectify the problems during the July-August vacation. There have been instances in the past where the schools have been closed for months because of the air conditioning system, months, or would have been affected by the air conditioning system not working months. And any parent would not want their child to attend such an institution where teaching and learning is disrupted so frequently.
Yeah, and I understand that. But just on a side note, before we, I just want a couple more questions again. In terms of the construction of you would not build a school or any building, as a matter of fact, in terms of where there would not be an emergency exit, right? Particularly in a place of work and that, as the case may be. So therefore, my question is, do you know what would the particulars surrounding the construction of the school, whereby it was fitted for air condition, but they didn't have a backup in terms of proper ventilation? Because that one...
Well, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
I don't have the information, but what I got is from because of the design of the building, it was designed in such a way to
only
with air conditioning, air conditioning system, a central air conditioning system.
Okay.
I understand that the system that is used is an HVAC system called HVAC that works the some cooling system, and that has been given problems. I know there were other schools that would have had those systems, HVAC systems, installed, and I understand in some schools they would have gotten rid of those HVAC systems and would have resorted to putting split units in the classes. So maybe
this is why when they do this thing, they have to make sure that they have systems in place to get repairs done quickly. So I hear what you're saying. EFCL, what are your thoughts on EFCL and this ongoing problem with school repairs? Somebody made a joke recently, Mr. Dudai, that maybe we need to have 3 months of August vacation, August, July, August, September, and maybe they'll finish in time. Because again, this has been going on for many years. What are your thoughts on EFCL?
If we have 3 months of vacation, let's say June, July, August, we'll still end up in the same problem because we'll start repairs 1 week or 2 weeks before the school reopens. And that is the crux of the matter there. Late commencement to the repair programs during the July, August vacation.
And why we can't seem to get it right? Why do we go through this every year? I mean,
every year, as I pointed out, governments come and go, ministers of education come and go, and we have the same problem. And it doesn't need a rocket scientist to tell you, start the repairs early so that it will finish before the end of the school term. But every year when teachers report for duties at the end of the vacation, they meet, in many instances, construction sites in the schools, and the schools are not in a state of preparedness for teaching and learning.
But these people, these individuals and those who oversee AFCL should be held accountable. And I think that's the problem. There's no accountability
I agree with you.
And transparency. Where's the money going?
For the action.
And there were suggestions many years ago, because AFCL, of course, is an agency that is hired by the ministry. There are some who are saying that maybe the ministry needs to take more of a control in terms of repairing the schools and how it is done. Do you agree?
I agree. I think the ministry needs to hold EFCL accountable, because it seems that ESL is in the media by and large for purely negative reasons than anything positive. ESL would be in the media for corruption, allegations, mismanagement, inability to complete schools. But we have never really seen ESL portrayed in a positive light in the media with respect to the completion of a school or the handing over of a school on time or within budget or anything like that. And by and large, it's mainly negative things being put out in the public domain with respect to EFCL. So I will want to venture and say that the EFCL should be held accountable by the ministry, and the ministry should look very closely at the operations of the EFCL. My
last question, Mr. Dudai, in terms of generally the schools that are earmarked for repairs right now that you probably could call just off the cuff. I know San Fernando Central, they have since reopened, I believe, after the electrical problem there that we highlighted. And now we have Princetown. What other schools have been brought to your attention that I need a repair?
Other schools on a daily basis, schools will go down, and some others that may have been affected may come back up. I can tell you that the Rio Claro East Secondary was closed yesterday by the Public Health Department due to a sewer problem. That school, when they reopened and it was their school, there's actual sewer emanating on the surface.
Wow.
Right? And eventually, I was informed that the Public Health Department would have closed the Rio Claro East Secondary School yesterday because of sewer problems. Elswick Presbyterian Primary School in Tableland, Southeast Trinidad, that school has an ongoing sewer problem. So for the last few days, every day the school is being dismissed early due to a foul odor that is affecting both students and teachers. So that school is also affected. The Enterprise Government Primary School is being closed for the last couple of days
on an
ongoing basis due to issues at the school with respect to water. I understand that repair works may begin on the school on Friday. The St. Philip's Government Primary School in East Port of Spain, that school had a water issue since the last week of the last school term in early July of 2017. When school reopened, the problem has not been rectified, so the school has a water problem, something with the connection to the school, so the school has no water. So that school has been going home daily due to a lack of water at the school. Right? And there are many other schools that have issues, and they are trying their best to function. They are limping along, if I can use that description.
Mr. Dudai, thank you so very much for shedding some light on the situation at Princestown and even in terms of the dynamics of the structure of the school, but that could be discussed in a different light in terms of moving forward and how we construct these schools and EFCL and even the other schools that are in need of repair. And of course, congratulations to Tutor and all that you all have been doing to highlight the media as to what's been happening at the schools across the country. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure being here.
Thank you. All right, that is the... Bye. Thanks a lot. Have a blessed day, sir. All right, that's the president of Tutor, Mr. Lindsay Dudai, giving some details. And again, I knew that I was, I said, let's wait and see exactly what's happening in terms of... I wanted to get more information, which I did get today, as a matter of fact, on the construction of the school and, the whole layout. And I say this, though. I do not know what was the foresight in terms of the construction and the layout and, the building design and all of that. But I would say this, even though, AC is the norm of the day, and I understand why, trust me. However, just as when when we're constructing certain buildings, and you would have an emergency exit for obvious reasons, these are things that you don't necessarily have to think about, if you know what I'm saying. All right, it is only natural. So the same thing goes when you're constructing a building, even though it's outfitted with air conditioning units. In the event that it breaks down, there must be some sort of ventilation as a backup until such unit or units are repaired. And if this school was built, as they say, because of how it was built, there's little to no ventilation. To me, I'm not an engineer, but to me, that plan wasn't thought out properly. That's just my take on it, all right? It was not thought out properly. Demographics and the whole layout and the building plan and everything, the blueprint may have had a little, it wasn't that blue, a little ginger green or something, or black, because they didn't look at that blueprint properly, right? Again, I'm not an engineer, but I'm just saying common sense, all right? But it's already there. It has to be dealt with. And again, even if, let's say, okay, because of the dynamics of how it was structured, how it was built, you have to only have AC, as the case may be, or mainly AC, then ensure that, there is quick access to getting supplies or getting repair parts down in the event it breaks down, right? So EFCL, I'll tell her that. Respond. Yeah? Respond. All right? Defend yourselves. So as for the young man, nothing was... No, people on social media, different ages, young people. My thing is reprimand, But 5-day suspension, that was harsh. You got the end of it, as the president of Twitter rightfully said, there are no policy in place to say, well, don't. If there was a policy in place in the school or from the Ministry of Education, as a matter of fact, then therefore, if he or she goes against that policy, then therefore, they can be saying, you know what? Based on this policy, which you are aware of and your parents are aware of, you cannot just stay on for 2 or 3 or 5 days. So it should be handled a little differently. But not this letter. I don't know if you can punch up the letter quickly if we can, guys. Let me just go back to the picture here. Before we go to the break and come back, let me get this picture up. It's a picture of the actual suspension letter. I don't know if you can actually get it up there quickly for me. Right. You won't really see it very clear, but this is what it looks like. They took off the guy's name, right? And it says, I would not call his name. I regret to inform you that I have received a report of gross misconduct. Gross misconduct on the part of his name. Well, most people know, but I'm not going to call his name. Of gross misconduct. Yes. Right. On the part of so-and-so, a form, right? In broad terms, the nature of the complaint is as follows. Posting of negative comments on social media regarding the school on the 1st of the 9th, 2017. I consider it expedient and in the best interest of the school that the pupil be suspended. Gross, come back to me, gross misconduct. So I wonder how much suspension a child will get when they real bruise up somebody's face and bust the face and bust the nose, and in one case a child got his hand broken and something, I think it was Miaro or something. So with that, I guess that'll be double gross misconduct, so they might just get 10 days. Anyhow, let's take a break.
The devil's the accuser of the brethren. And he hates marriage because marriage is the image of God. He hates marriage because it's the most sacred institution on earth. God created marriage in Genesis chapter 1. It is the first institution he ever created, and it's the foundation for every other institution on earth. And he's a strategist. He understands if he can destroy marriage, he can destroy all of society.
I found out that if our phones are close enough, and if we have a connection on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, come on, I'm about to preach this technology until somebody comes out of hiding. If I got something on my device and you need it on your device, if I can get close enough to your device with my device, what's on my device can jump on your device. If I get close to the one who created me, close to the one who called me, if I stop running and return to the place of my assignment, I got the drop.
So if you want to live behind walls all your life and live an isolated, lonely, miserable life, go ahead. But I suggest that you tear down all your walls and let God be a wall of protection about you. And he says all of your walls will be called peace.
All right, welcome back to Cloud.Nine on ACTN, The Voice. Now, this particular silver lining, I've had many over the last year and something, but this one is right up there in the top 5. Let's go to it, guys. Let's go to silver lining first. All right. All right, no, I don't know if much of you all know, but late in the last, let's say 6 months or so, that's last year, England, London, England, they've had a lot of issues in terms of race just popping up, and came across this video, and I entitled it "The Color of Praise and Worship," because it truly demonstrates what God wants us to do, the barriers that he wants us to break down, the stupid mindset some of us have in terms of, who God is and who he wants us to be. And when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I had to show this someday. I think today is the best day, since today is the Wake Up Wednesday. We need to wake up to what true racial unity is when we see beyond the barriers of color. The only color that should really matter is the color red, the blood of Jesus. And we don't get that. So look at this video, and this, as I said, is the true color of praise and worship. Yeah.
You are the most high. Go Jesus, go Jesus, go! Go Jesus, go Jesus, go! Go Jesus, go! Go Jesus, go Jesus, go! Arise! 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 Take your place! Be enthroned on our praise! Arise! King of kings! Holy God! As we sing around, Jesus loves you. Arise, arise, we lift you up, hey, we lift you up, hey, we lift you up on our praises. What? We lift you up, hey, we lift you up, hey, we lift you up on our praises.
The color of praise. Actually, well, you saw they literally shut down a subway station, not intentionally, but what I mean, it didn't block any of the trains, but people just couldn't, just stop and just be in awe, even though the subway or the bus was passing, had to, get involved in the music and pop you on, but that is just, I mean, there are no words to describe what happened there. That is really what you call true worship, true praise, and breaking all the color barriers and stupid mindsets people have about God and what He wants for us. So again, whatever they did, hey, let the Spirit of God move. Let's go now to our Be Inspired segment as we close off things today. All right, so we're going to bring it back local for you. Again, thanks, of course, to Mr. Lindsay Dulai from Twitter, giving us an update on what is happening at our nation's schools at this point in time. He mentioned that a part needs to come in terms of Princestown East, so we don't know how long that will be. Rio Clara and other schools have sewer problems. One school in Port of Spain has issue with water, another one in South. And again, so EFC, doesn't matter, people want to annihilate you, as you're saying, but as he said, too often in the news, it's just negative things. We would like to say something positive as well. We really would like to. We really would like to. But to the ministry, as we close things off, hold the individuals accountable for who are not doing their jobs properly. This is not a PNM issue or a UNC issue, but it's been going on for too long, so it's a management issue. And money, anyhow, we will leave it there for now. Let's close things off with Isaac Blackman. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid lawsuit. All right? Good. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you.